A very good evening to you anywhere around the world. This is Nationwide from Abuja on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. President Bola Tinubu is to embark on a state visit to the People's Republic of China, first week of September. Presidential Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalali, announced this at a press briefing just concluded in the State House.
This engagement is expected to yield very tangible, immediate, and future dividends for the sake of the Nigerian economy and for the benefit of the Nigerian people. And the President is placing a premium on deliverables, ensuring that this is not a talk, but that this is something that will yield results for our people, justifying any expenditure that is made during the course of this trip.
The President will also attend 2024 Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, also scheduled for the 5th to the 7th of September. The immediate past Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, has handed over to the new Director General, Ambassador Mohammed, at the headquarters of the agency in Abuja. The outgone DG formally welcoming his successor and introducing him to the management team of the agency, applauded the President for appointing his successor from the agency, which he said will aid smooth takeover. The former DG pledged to be accessible whenever his contributions may be needed.
To welcome the incoming DG since Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Mohammed, and to hand him the baton.
The new DG appreciated President Tinubu for considering him worthy of the appointment, while thanking his predecessor for his excellent reception. He also called for the cooperation and support of the management staff for positive output. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has called for the enforcement of stiffer laws and punishments to perpetrators of sexual abuse and other forms of gender-based violence in the country. She made the call at the first Gender and Social Norms Summit 2024, organized by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, in collaboration with the Renewed Hope Initiative. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that the summit again puts spotlight on the menace of gender-based violence.
Whereas recent statistics suggest improvement in female genital mutilation and few other issues that affect women and the girl child, still, gender-based violence is an abiding reality, challenging the ability of women to enjoy their womanhood and contribute to national development. Social and gender norms, both described as unwritten rules and expectations that define acceptable standard within a group or roles within the family, have been identified as underlying factors by experts who are gathered at this summit, organized in partnership with Renewed Hope Initiative to build needed solidarity against the menace. Leading the charge, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu says while state-specific action plans are developed and allocation of adequate resources are promoted in government budget to support gender equality initiatives, law enforcement must be prioritized to stem violence against women.
Even our babies are violated. Do we allow this trend to continue, or do we look the other way? That is why I'm calling on the law enforcement agencies, the Inspector General of Police, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Chairman of the National Assembly, to appropriate and enforce stiffer laws and punishments for perpetrators of rape, sexual violence, and gender-based violence. No guilty party should be allowed to go free and start roaming the streets looking for the next victim.
The first point of call is, of course, to ensure that all our girls attend school.
We, the Ministry of Women Affairs, we've moved further to make sure there will be consequences if you commit such crime. We have our whistleblowers that will give us information in case they try it again.
The Federal Ministry of Youth Development has concluded plans to establish a new Department of Youth Wellbeing. This department will be dedicated to tackling issues such as gender-based violence, harmful social norms, and addressing and providing support for mental health to young people.
Getting the buy-in of the subnationals and traditional institutions is key.
We're working at the grassroots to support you in getting your programs done.
And as a token of their commitment to carry the torch in their respective states, wives of state governors joined the First Lady to sign a compact agreement on the resolutions of the summit. From the banquet hall of the presidential villa, Adini Taiwo, NTA News.
The Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Oil, Heineken Lokbobiri, has reiterated government's commitment to ensuring benefits of oil production extended to local communities. Lydia Sampson reports.
Reiterating that the success of the oil industry depends on the active participation of all stakeholders, Heineken Lokbobiri is most particular about the host communities, whose welfare, he says, is paramount. He added that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to addressing every necessary obstacle and concern to achieve the goal of increased crude oil production, as stipulated by the PIA.
Yes. And so I want to use this opportunity to solicit for your support, and by extension, solicit for the support of all traditional rulers, in Promo clan, and indeed Bayelsa State, to work with us, so that we ramp up, production. That is the only way more money can come to the host comes, fund. Where the more oil that you produce within the domain, the more money you have in that cluster. And so I want a solution where it will be a win-win situation for everybody.
The minister reiterated this when he received a delegation from the Federated Communities of Ekeremo local government area in Bayelsa State, who paid them a courtesy call to express their displeasure over what they describe as perceived neglect by operators within their community. He commended them for their unwavering support and partnership with the federal government in safeguarding the nation's shared resources. He assured them that immediate steps will be taken in addressing all the issues they raised, including matters related to the host communities trust fund. Lokbobiri urged them to continue their steadfast support to the federal government in ramping up crude oil production. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Moving on to security matters, on the heels of significant successes recently recorded in various theaters of operations across the country, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has directed Air Component Commanders to intensify efforts in ongoing operations. Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Edwards Gapquet, says made the call while addressing Air Component Commanders during a virtual meeting which held on 26 August 2024, commending commanders for outstanding performance. The CAS highlighted critical role they have played in ensuring the safety and security of the nation. He notes that dedication and tactical efforts have led to a series of successful missions, elimination of key terrorist leaders, disruption of activities of oil thieves and pipeline vandals, and safeguarding key national assets. The service and nation, he states, are proud of the Air Component Commanders, their achievements, and that their relentless pursuit of excellence and commitments to duty have not gone unnoticed. The Chief of the Air Staff attributes recent operational successes to leadership and professionalism of men and women under the command, reassuring the commanders of NAF's leadership commitment to welfare and provision of equipment to enhance operational capabilities in restoring peace across the country. Now, in the last couple of months, security agencies in the Federal Capital Territory have taken the war to the doorsteps of high-threat criminals, such as kidnappers in forests across boundaries of the Federal Capital Territory, who gave residents sleepless nights to ward them off. However, the same cannot be said of petty crimes in the nation's capital city center, where syndicates often operate at bus stops without hindrance. This development has led to loss of lives, with survivors living with the trauma of harrowing experiences. Onotu Yakubu in this report examines this worrying situation.
It is sundown and close of the day's business activities in the nation's capital, and so law-abiding residents are eager to return home to loved ones. But, on the other hand, such times are peak periods for activities of men of the underworld. Shrubs, green areas, and flyovers such as these are usually safe haven for their activities. In the wake of such encounters with them, lives are usually lost to every attempted resistance. Emmanuel Oke is one of those who escaped, and he says he lives with a mark to remember the experience.
I've experienced this too myself, so I really want the government to do something about it. Imagine in the city center this is happening, so what will happen in the suburbs?
Emmanuel is one in numerous experiences of residents. From Wuse to Banex Junction, Garki area, and parts of the central business districts, these locations have been dreaded by residents who patronize bus stops, either as commuters or pedestrians.
I was coming to the office at early hour of the morning, and some guys around, the bad boys around, were coming after me. I was trying to walk fast ahead of them, and I fell into one of these manhole around.
I've been a witness, not once, not twice, at this particular bus stop. They snatch phones, they snatch bags, they run into this culvert, and and when you pursue them down there, they will either stab you to death.
What has security done in response to this appalling and life-threatening situation to the collective security of residents?
We have activated a lot of intelligence. A lot of intelligent people on patrol. They are not patrolling on police vehicles. They are patrolling mostly private vehicles to identify those boys and deal with them accordingly. We have been dealing with them. In no small time, it will be a thing of the past.
Emmanuel Oke is hopeful that the authorities will take proactive and decisive measure to nip the situation in the bud and enhance confidence of commuters and residents to appreciable safety. In Abuja, Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Onotu Yakubu there, and now he joins me live in the nation's capital to give an update on the situation. Onotu, this surely is a cause for concern, but how serious are these pockets of attacks on commuters at bus stops in the nation's capital?
Serious challenge in the territory as far as the situation has been in the last couple of weeks. Picture this. I am presently at the Masalachi Junction, one of the most notoriously dreaded locations for this heinous crime. Where I stand now, I present a picture of two spots. In fact, across the road from behind you will see commuters that have just closed from work and are heading home to their families. And as they stand there, I tell you with all sense of responsibility that they stand there with their one eye on target for vehicles to board and then the other eyes on the lookout for any eventualities. And that has been the reality across most of these black spots across the territory. In fact, if for any reason I get the opportunity to speak to most of these people in these bus stops across the road, they will tell you if they have not experienced it, they have seen it happen to somebody else, probably a fellow commuter like them. And it is not been a palatable story. You go to, in fact, the situation is even, it's good that it's even still the early hours of the evening. If anything from 7 p.m. in the Federal Capital Territory and at majority of these bus stops, in fact, they dare not stand here for more than 1 or 2 minutes. They become victims to this heinous crime, and that has been the reality of most residents, especially commuters. In fact, even in your personal vehicle also, you dare not slow down at traffic stops for more than 10 seconds. These boys are alighting from the shrubs and under the bridges to attack unsuspecting road users. That has been it.
Onotu, with more flashpoints emerging and, of course, these different notorious spots within the Federal Capital Territory, we just heard the CP, Bennett Igwe, giving assurances. But what are the security deployments and surveillance and assurances that we can give Nigerians, especially residents of the FCT?
Well, he did said that, and I'm also very much privy to that information that these efforts have been made. If you recall, just barely a week ago, the authority lost one of our very diligent drivers to this dreaded crime in the territory just Monday last week. Of course, that goes to speak to the reality as the case may be, of course. Response to distress situations too are usually not as, of course, maybe as they make their efforts, but not as snappy as residents expect, especially when they are in that critical situation that they need the necessary authorities to respond and save them from the situation. The security, the deployments are there. You are seeing police posts and patrol teams at locations, but sometimes response to these distress situations are not as forthcoming as it should be. I think that has been one of the major challenges that residents face. It is not to say the security is not there, they are there, but when you need them to respond, it's not as snappy as it should be, like you get when you have high-profile crimes like kidnapping and what have you, where you see them sweeping immediately and, you know, nip the situation in the bud. This one is there. You also have plainclothes policemen that are doing intelligence, but response to situations while it is happening is not as forthcoming as residents.
Well, quite some
need police and other security agencies to be able to immediately, while these boys are operating at the spot, respond to the situation and maybe either make arrests or prevent it from.
Onotu, I'd like to thank you for your contribution and giving us that update on the security situation as far as criminality is concerned at flashpoints in the Federal Capital Territory. Please remember to stay safe and also watch your back. All right, let's move on and also tell you that the leadership of host communities in Nigeria producing oil and gas, HostCom, says the drastic measures taken by the federal government to end crude oil theft and bunkering in the Niger Delta are yielding results under the leadership of President Tinubu. National President of HostCom, Dr. Benjamin Tamaranebi, who made the commendation at a press briefing in Abuja, identified efforts also put in place by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the Minister of State's Petroleum Resources, Oil, Heineken Lokwobiri, in achieving these feats, and condemns statements in some quarters against these efforts with the aim of removing them from office.
In the oil and gas sector, as he took over just a year ago, communities through the NUPRC, communities have received for about 100 billion naira for these 3%. We wish to state categorically that the incompetence and the figments of the imaginations of the sponsored individuals, considering the fact that Lokwobiri has helped to dose a lot of tension, including the issue of insecurity and community allegation. HostCom used the opportunity to pass vote of confidence. Godswill Akpabio, we extend same token to the Minister of State for Petroleum Oil. As host communities of Nigeria producing oil and gas, we shall remain firm and resolute in fighting to protect the interests of oil and gas bearing communities in this our country.
The HostCom national president, however, notes that the organization will soon engage the National Assembly to review some sections of the Petroleum Industry Act 4 years after its enactment. And from Uyo comes a report that Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Omo Eno is calling for the establishment of an additional army battalion to be located around Oron Federal Constituency in the state. The governor said this while receiving the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, in his office. Kelvin Samuel reports.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, while appreciating Akwa Ibom State government for the continuous support to the Nigerian Army, explains that the choice of the state for the conference is based on its serenity, which will enable them relax and discuss serious national security concerns.
I've come to Akwa Ibom State to truly relax, conduct our affairs and our deliberations in the ambience of a peaceful, secured environment and make useful decisions that will move the army and the entire national security forward.
We want to thank you and your team for the wonderful role you are playing in keeping the nation together. You're doing such a fantastic work. It is because you are not sleeping, that's why we can sleep. Your troops are out there all over the country, spread, and sometimes they pay the supreme price for us to remain in peace.
The Chief of Army Staff Conference is holding in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
From Bayelsa State, 2 young persons have been arrested in Yenagoa by operatives of the South-South Zonal Command of the Professional Hunters Association of Nigeria. Parading the suspected criminals, the commander of the security outfit, Jeremiah Oga, says the suspects are linked to frequent armed robbery and kidnapping in the state. Aya Prezi has details.
Security, the popular slogan says, is everyone's business. It is in the light of this that operatives of the state-based Professional Hunters Association of Nigeria, PROHAM, has continued to complement security checks by the police in Bayelsa State. The commander, Professional Hunters Association of Nigeria South-South Regional Office, Mr. Nehemiah Oga, decried the alleged criminalities linked to the 2 suspects.
There's a boy here that they kidnapped 3 of them and collected their phones, still transfer money from their accounts and take them to uncompleted building in Azikoro. That was where the brother to the victim run to our office. He came and make a statement. We go after them and we apprehend them. This gang in question, they are the one terrorizing the whole from Swale to Azikoro. After here, we are taking them back to the station.
PROHAM, it says, will continue to fight any form of criminalities in the state in collaboration with other security agencies. In Yenagoa, Aya Prezi, NTA News.
And from Yenagoa, we'll go over to our Lagos Network Center. And Adiola will be giving us the next set of reports. Good evening, Adiola.
Hello, Ayo. It's good to see you. The 81 Division of the Nigerian Army is re-strategizing and equipping officers with the requisite skills to deal with emerging security threats through the Inter-Brigade Combat Proficiency Competition 2024, which is designed to deepen resilience and team spirit among personnel. Joel Pokwola reports that 80 officers drawn from 4 formations under the 81 Division are participating in the competition at 243 Battalion Bereko Barracks, Badagry, Lagos.
The task of protecting the territorial integrity of Nigeria, which is a core duty of the Nigerian Army, requires combat readiness and ability to cope with difficult terrains in the theater of operations. The participating formations are Nigerian Army 81 Division Garrison, 35 Artillery Brigade, 9 Brigade and 45 Engineering Brigade, comprising officers from second lieutenants to major rank. Nigerian Army 81 Division Training Officer, Brigadier General Oluwole Davis, who represented the GOC, urged the participants to imbibe team spirit and put in their best to achieve the objective of the training, which is hinged on upscaling their skills and promoting synergy.
This training is actually what propels the troops, and whatever they do in peacetime would actually impact. We've categorized this particular cadre of our officers to train together, and whenever they bond, and definitely the output will be replicated in the field.
The commanding officer 243 Battalion, who is hosting the training, says the training will prepare officers for higher responsibilities and challenges.
The participants are expected to compete in 4 events, namely map reading, weapon handling, obstacle crossing, and combat swimming. All the events to be competed for will take place within 243 Battalion area of responsibility, except for the weapon handling, which will take place at 81D Small Arms Range at Agility Owode.
As the officers engage in LD competition, the charge for them is not to lose sight of the overall objective of the army, which is anchored on discipline. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
In its quest to reshape the transportation system, stimulate economic growth and enhance environmental sustainability, the federal government adopted the use of compressed natural gas, CNG. And to foster the growth of the CNG adoption program, efforts are ongoing to ensure installation of appropriate dispensing pumps. Diana Ajale takes a look at how motorists in Lagos are adapting to the shift.
I've traveled from east to west, west to north and south. I've not seen CNG gas stations.
If you carry this thing come up for Lagos here, you drive your motor, enter another state. When the gas finish for there, to get another one, it will be a problem for you. You can be stranded for there.
Although some individuals have raised concerns over obstacles that need to be adequately addressed before compressed natural gas CNG vehicles are fully operational in Nigeria, experts say there is no cause for alarm as the federal government is putting in place various measures to ensure cost reduction and availability across Nigeria.
You have a vehicle, can you spend 600,000, 400,000 to convert, to get this kit and convert your vehicle? Most of them will want to do that. But with what the government is doing, I believe in the future, there will be more refilling stations. Government is already subsidizing the cost of conversions. And I believe people, with that subsidy that the government is actually putting in place through the presidential CNG initiative, people will adopt CNG.
What are the benefits of adopting CNG vehicles as an alternative mode of transportation, and how safe is this option in a cosmopolitan city like Lagos, known for traffic congestion?
Being a cleaner fuel, you are going to spend less in maintenance.
I think I like the idea. If it works, if it's more economical.
Why many individuals are yet to embrace the usage of compressed natural gas vehicles, experts insist that more awareness campaigns are needed, particularly at grassroots levels. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
And those are reports from Lagos. Jos is our next port of call. That will be after this time out. Please stay on to the NTA.
On to Nationwide, and thanks for joining us in our Jos studio. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement North Central, Abiodun Esiet, says the essence of strategic engagement is to ensure that citizens are kept abreast of government policies and programs. This was at an official launch of Citizens Assembly and Town Hall meeting in Jos. Ijama Ozemena has more.
The Town Hall meeting provides a platform for integrating diverse voices and perspectives of citizens into the decision-making processes of government towards enhancing community development. To this end, traditional and community leaders, religious leaders, and representatives of women and youth groups are here to express their concerns as well as expectations from government. The common concerns are issues of development in the areas of social and health amenities, unemployment, and insecurity.
We need to change the narratives. If I'm talking about the president, what about me? What do I tell people in my community? How do they see that reflecting in me? How fair am I? in protecting government properties?
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Development, Abiodun Esiet, says strategic engagements are crucial in ensuring that citizens are carried along in the developmental policies and programs of government.
All our assemblies, we are going to pick one community project that has been nominated by the citizen, and the intervention will be done by my office directly.
For Plateau State government, the initiative is a laudable one that will bridge the gap between the leaders and the led and also foster trust and unity.
We are participating and we are going to give our own suggestions, and we expect a feedback from the policies that our president is going to put in place for us for our own benefit.
1,000 volunteers drawn from various wards of the 17 local government areas of the state were inaugurated to serve as community mobilizers. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Plateau State Command has apprehended 2 trucks loaded with 35 metric tons of raw urea fertilizer suspected to be diverted from a fertilizer blending plant in Port Harcourt and Roots, Bauchi State. The suspects were paraded before newsmen in Jos. Caleb Guching reports.
Parading the suspects, the Public Relations Officer of the Plateau State Command of the Corps, Assistant Superintendent Nanko Rimviak, says the suspects were recently apprehended along Bauchi Road. The Public Relations Officer told NTA News that the trucks with registration number Plateau Mangu 354XA and Gombe 914XD were meant to deliver the products to some companies in Lagos and Oyo states, but were diverted to a company in Bauchi State.
We commend the vigilance and the dedication of our officers in effective arrests in collaboration with Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to sustain the food security policy of government.
The NSCDC spokesperson, however, called on agro dealers, fertilizer producers, and sellers, as well as farmers, to abide by the National Fertilizer Quality Control Law and report anyone involved in illegal dealing of fertilizer to the nearest NSCDC office or any security operatives for action. Investigation on the matter continues. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos. Nationwide will continue in our Abuja studio with Ayo Deji Makinde.
Oh, Mary, in our Jos Network Center, thank you. Back here, to enhance security in transportation and block loopholes in revenue generation, the Anambra State government has launched Tricycle tracker technology. Benson Osadebe reports that this initiative is designed to address key concerns plaguing tricycle operators in the state.
The activities of tricycle operators in Oka is fraught with 2 major challenges: unfair charges by government authorities and theft by hoodlums. To stem the tide, the state's government is implementing a tracking technology initiative with the aim of raising internally generated revenue while enhancing security through monitoring, making both riders and passengers feel safer.
But when we had a meeting with them sometime last year, their challenge was, yes, that's what they agreed to pay, because whether you go to work, you pay. If you don't go to work, you pay, because it's a weekly thing. So when you look at it, some of their complaints were genuine. So it got us thinking on how to resolve that issue.
In as much as the government is generating revenue and using it for the government, for the people, here it is a local development. What is bad is when the money is generated and is being misappropriated.
For the operators, their reactions are that of a mixed feelings.
If a tracker can find it, so it's more better, because so many operators, they have lost their keke.
So, and I love what the government is doing.
That one, me, I don't like that can track away the one put now.
The state's effort to digitize and formalize the transport sector, according to respondents, remains a pointer to the call by residents of the state to address nagging security challenges. From Oka, Benson Osadebe, NTA News.
Now, Benson will be joining me live from Orca to give us an update on Tricycle technology system, the tracker system out there. Now, Benson, tell us the effectiveness of this initiative and measures on ground to ensure that criminals don't beat governments to it.
Thank you and welcome to Orca, the Anambra State capital. The effectiveness of the initiative and measures on ground to ensure that criminals don't beat them to it stems from the composition of the chips in the device. Although the device is not tamper-proof, howbeit, the primary concern of both the state government and the tricycle operators in the state is that the revolutionary tricycle GPS tracker will prevent the operators from falling victim to theft. This is because they can have total control to monitor in real time, where they have the option to shut the tricycle remotely without the thieves noticing. As a result of this, it appears a win-win situation for both parties. Another angle that is of interest to the state government is increasing the revenue net or window to ensure fairness and transparency in revenue generation. With the slogan, no pay, no work, and no work, no pay, the commercial transport fairness. With the initiative, lofty as it may appear, it is still fraught with some challenges regarding the payment of the device, which the officials of the state internally generated revenue and their consultants pegged at 250 naira on daily basis over 36 months to get back their capital of 35,000 naira. This is currently generating concerns among tricycle operators in the state as they are complaining of economic hardship and overtaxation.
For your contribution, of course, I will be keeping tabs on to see what the response will be from commuters out there in Orca to this initiative of the Tricycle tracker system in the state. Thank you one more time. Yes, keen on the need for the nation to maximize its potential in order to attain greater socio-economic development that will stimulate growth across all regions. The Patriots, a group of eminent Nigerians, have initiated an advocacy group. Lanre Bilei reports that its mandate is to go round the country to garner support for a proposed democratic people's constitution that takes into account the multicultural, ethnic and plural construct of the nation.
Based on the conviction that the country needs what they term a true federal constitution that reflects the plurality of the nation, some eminent Nigerians under the banner, the Patriots, have formally inaugurated an advocacy committee with the sole purpose of galvanizing support from the public on what they call a new democratic constitution.
The Patriots believe that the draft new constitution should be subjected to a referendum, a national referendum. That's the second part of the request which the Patriots have advised the President to include in his executive bill to the National Assembly.
The 17-member advocacy committee is to work with the National Assembly and the executive on the draft of the proposed constitution. The Patriots are also advocating that an executive bill be sent to the National Assembly to legislate on the convening of a constituent assembly elected on non-party political basis from each of the 36 states of the Federation.
We understand the importance of the National Assemblies, who are inherently lawmakers and representatives of various people in the country. So we shall be reaching out to them, to the leadership and to the members. We shall be reaching out to various stakeholders and community leaders.
The move by the Patriots is coming on the heels of decisions reached at its colloquium in March and suggestion made during their meeting with the president on the need for a new democratic people's constitution that will enable the nation tackle some of the key challenges facing the country. In Lagos, Lanre Bileyi, NTA News.
And from Lagos, we'll cross over to the seat of Caliphate, Sokoto, where Asmao will be our next guide on Nationwide.
DG, good evening and welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. Immediate provision of relief materials, motorized boats and life jackets to flood victims and riverine communities are among recommendations of the Sokoto State Flood Control Committee to Sokoto State Government. This is while Chairman of the committee, Bello Idris, was submitting the committee's report to Governor Ahmad Aliyu at the Government House. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa reports.
The Sokoto State Flood Control Committee was set up last month by Sokoto State Government in response to the 2024 rainfall and flood prediction by the National Meteorological Agency NIMET's early warning system that fingers it among the states in the Federation to experience flash floods. The committee, under the chairmanship of the majority leader, Sokoto State House of Assembly, Bello Idris, did not hesitate by swinging into action. The committee visited all the flood-prone local government areas, including the expected sites and sources of flood, and after days of compilation of reliable data of the affected communities, the committee is here to report its findings to the governor on the measures to avert future occurrences and mitigate its effects. Chairman of the committee Idris reveals that about 1,341 villages, 14,940 houses, 11,390 farmlands and crops had been destroyed. Similarly, 50 earth dams and 250 stagnant ponds were submerged.
We have made several recommendations, including provision to the victims of immediate resettlement facilities, including mattresses, mats, medications, first aid, as well as other farmers who are very much concerned immediately after the flooding. They will be engaged in dry season farming.
Governor Ahmed Ali, who commended the committee members for doing a good job within the specified period, calls on people to desist from erection of structures on waterways to avoid such disasters and assure that government will carefully study the report in order to take appropriate action.
I want to assure you that government will study the recommendation and inshallah we will take appropriate action.
Earlier, 15 local government areas were captured in the NIMET season predictions. However, in the course of its assignment, the committee discovers 5 additional local government areas devastated by the flood. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
Bashir Ibrahim Nababa there with that report. Stakeholders on security matters are advocating enhanced security to the most vulnerable schools, and the maintenance of minimum educational standards in such schools in view of its role as the bedrock for societal development. This came to the fore at the Safe School Program Workshop organized by the Defense Headquarters held at 8th Division Nigerian Army Sokoto. Elhata Abdullahi has the report.
The workshop with the theme providing a secure and safe learning environment for the advancement of national development has security agencies, schools administrators, government education officials, community leaders, unions, and civil society groups in attendance. The workshop is the second in the series conducted in the northwest geopolitical zone of the country, aims at educating stakeholders in matters of ensuring security in schools in line with the federal government national policy on safe, secure, and violent-free school environment.
The Safe School Program of the Armed Forces entails collaboration among the security agencies as well as civil societies to secure schools across Nigeria for our children to attend.
What we are trying to do now is to bring it down to all our formations and units, so that everybody can hear on the need and importance attached to this program.
This workshop is an important step towards addressing the challenges that have threatened the very fabric of our education system.
3 resource persons made presentations which were extensively discussed at the workshop. The workshop called on the government to devise strategies of addressing the critical gaps in safe school infrastructure. Highlights were the presentation of brand new operational power bikes and communication equipment. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's our package from here. We will take a short break, and when we return, Nationwide continues in our Ibadan Network Center. Good evening.
A warm welcome to Ibadan. First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, through her foundation, Renewed Hope Initiative Economic Empowerment Program, has flagged off the recapitalization grants for 1,000 women petty traders in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Ayomiko Ajibola covered the event.
The program, which is part of the continued commitment of the First Lady to drive the economic growth towards better life for families, especially women across the country, saw the disbursement of 50,000 naira to each of the selected 1,000 women petty traders in the Peseta states. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who was represented, noted that the Renewed Hope Initiative is aware of the challenges faced by small and medium enterprises, especially petty traders at the grassroots, who form the backbone of the local economies.
It's a way to renew the hope of our women, because when you empower a woman, automatically you're empowering the whole family and even the nation as a whole.
Some of the beneficiaries commended the First Lady for showing that she's capable of matching words with action by providing a strong platform to address poverty among women.
We pray say make we see this counting.
We thank you for your support, because this 50K,
as they give me this 50,000, I will be getting improved more than.
And this grant is very, very okay. I appreciate our money very well.
As one of the interventions under the Economic Empowerment Program of Renewed Hope Initiative across the country, the grant is targeted at helping petty traders overcome some of their business challenges, create more jobs, and expand the contribution of the informal sector to national economy. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
In a bid to catch up with the digital space as well as other information technology development skills, a 2-week intensive training has commenced on ICT and solar technology for young girls in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. This was at the instance of wife of former governor of Ondo State, Betty Anyanwu Akeredolu. Oyeyinka Omoli has the details.
Tagged Be More Oyo 2024 targets 100 girls, including those with special needs, to train vigorously for 2 weeks in information technology, ICT, solar system technology, and other life-enhancing skills to build a complete woman capable of adding values to themselves and the society within and outside the shores of Nigeria.
Empowering the next generation of women leaders, innovators, and change makers. This is not just an investment into young girls, it is an investment in our collective futures.
The 2024 edition was declared open by the Minister of State for Youth Development amid counsel to the participants to maximize the opportunity.
It is a way of impacting the life of over 100 girls. And none of these girls will come back. Everybody will beat their chest that will pass through this process.
I took it up as a challenge. It's a labor of love, and I will continue till the rest of my life.
Development partners called for the substance of the initiative so as to increase the visibility across Nigeria. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Omoli, NTA News.
That does it from Ibadan. It's back to you, Ayodeji.
Thanks, Kemi. Before we go, let me serve you this. Humanitarian Welfare and Social Development Initiative Africa has celebrated my boss, the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Comrade Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, on his birthday. In a low-key event, which had in attendance the management team of the largest network in Africa, President of the group, Felix Atta, described the DG as a strong pillar and developer who has made an indelible imprint in the sand of time, and urged him to continue to steer the ship of effectively managing the media space with patriotic zeal and competence. The DG appreciated the birthday treat and his subsequent inauguration as an icon ambassador of the non-governmental organization, where he pledged to do more for humanity and the nation.
T. Give me A. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good fellow.
And that's Nationwide. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. Bye-bye.